So I'm Alex with Divine Reconnections. I am a transformational therapist and a harmonic sound vibration therapist. That's always plentiful of words. What that means really is, what is a transformational therapist? I've been in this business for, I think 15 years. I got into this business because I was abused as a child. And my sister used to live in the UK. And when I used to go visit her, she finally made me go actually see my first therapist. And that was an actual energy healer in the UK. And the lady was phenomenal. I remember even, it was in 2004. I think I was maybe just 20, in my 20s, mid 20s. And so sitting in this therapist's office, I thought this lady was a quack, and I never said a word to this lady. And the things that this therapist had pulled out in the session, and just how transformative the session was in regards to physically what I felt, what this woman was doing, got me fascinated about energy work. So I came back to the States, started studying it, started doing it, and then, add 10 years. And then I started really working on clients within 10 years. And then now add 5 years, and have really just in the last 15 been progressing this skill that I have, this gift. I call it my gift. I'm very lucky enough to have this gift because I stepped into it with complete trust and had no idea where was this going to take me. And the universe kind of planted me exactly in every spot that I ever needed to be in. And they just accelerated the transformational gifts that they gave me, which is my psychic and intuitive channeling that I do, and a lot of the energy work that comes out of me. And so I have been doing this specific type of work for that length of time. A lot of it has been really on people that have had traumas. If you've had traumas, family issues, really heavy childhood past that happened, including abuse, obviously, those are a lot of the clients that come see me, because a lot of that work is really hard to remove from the body. I didn't, talk therapy just didn't work for me. I tried it and it didn't go deep enough for me. It didn't move the mental issues and the barriers and the stuckness. And for me, it was the not enough. I always talk about, what is your story? What's the story for the rest of your life that you're going to always be working on? What's the thing that flares up, right? It's like a car engine. What's that car engine when it comes on and you're like, oh, it's on again. I've got to work on it, right? That for me, it's not enough stuff. And that was just being with someone that drove that I'm not enough my entire life. And that is something that I've been so passionate about, getting to the core, getting to the cellular level. And where the brain, when your brain goes to that cell and it's saying, oh, it's not enough. She's not enough. I'm going to show her all the ways she's not enough. And then your life is magnified by the triggers you receive in your life that show you're not enough. Or when you're wanting to do something and you're so paralyzed by fear that not enough comes. Or when someone comes at you, and whether it's a coworker, it's a boss, or it's a friend or family, and you shut down and you don't know how to respond, that's not enough. I mean, it comes in so many various forms, and people don't realize, like, you have to get to the core of why that mindset sits in your body. And we have to try to change the brain to have it understand that is no longer your story, your belief. So how do we do that? How do we transform the really deep pain and emotional mindset that has been your story for your lifetime? And so that's kind of the type of work I do with my clients. I go very deep. I always like to joke, I kind of joke on the type of work that I work with people is that I go in and I rip the guts out, and I like to do it quick. So that way you get up and you start running fast, and you're seeing noticeable shifts happen really quick in your life. So I always joke I'm not the warm and fuzzy healer, because I will go deep, and I'm that neutral transformational therapist that can go in the body, see what you have, see what you're holding on to, see where it's coming from, who put it there, when they put it there, and really start ripping it out piece by piece. So that way you can get back to being really, truly, like, understanding, who am I? What is my story? Who is my story? Not based on my childhood, not based on the people that raised me or I grew up in, or I absorbed and integrated everything I saw. It's really saying from the moment of therapy, where am I? Who am I and where am I at now? And where do I want to go from here based on my own story? And that's kind of in a nutshell what I do. And I incorporate lots of tools in that, like my channeling, like aromatherapy, crystal therapy. I do child regression therapy, past life regression therapy, ancestral contracts, because I think in our lifetimes, we all have ancestral connections and contracts that with the people that we grow up with, that we kind of hold on to contracts that are not even our own. So I do a lot of therapy around that. So it's kind of like a big gamut, right? A big soup mix of lots of different modalities based on the person that I can go in and just shake it all up and pull it out. And, then you see the stars again, right? You see the light again. And that's what I love to do. And I've done this for, like I said, 15 years, 20 years. I was also a project manager for a decade. So I worked in corporate for a decade while I did this work. So I was working, talk about exemplifying my not enough stuff of being in a corporate role for years and running my own business and teaching people on how to find their ownership, their self-worth, how to take control of their lives. And I am completely exhausting myself in a corporate job for my entire life until really I realized, why am I doing this? This is my gift. This is my calling. I should be doing this. And literally last March, the universe said, oh, okay, you've been saying this for 5 years. We're tired of hearing what you want to do and you not doing anything about it. So we're going to make that decision for you. And that's what happened in March. My corporate job ended. And the next day, I started doing this full time. And it has been a roller coaster, an abundant roller coaster ride ever since. So
it's an amazing story. I mean, I haven't heard all of that, but I've heard some of it. And I mean, I've been inspired by you since I met you. And I've heard a lot about you from other people before I even was able to be in your presence and actually experience one of your sound baths. And it really was an incredible experience up in, where were we? Evergreen, Celeste?
Estes.
That's
Estes Park.
Estes Park on a retreat that Celeste was in charge of running. And it was incredible. It was an amazing time as well. My question for you is, how do you integrate the channeling with your sound healing? I'm so curious. I would love to hear more about that. It's such a fascinating thing to me because I'm really new to the space of sound healing, but I want to learn from you. So
thanks. Yeah. So the channeling, the intuitive channeling really started. It started when I started doing the work, when I really started practicing on people. I started hearing things and then I just started telling my clients, I'm hearing this. I'm just gonna go with it. And I'm hearing this. And then clients started validating, man, where did that come from? There's no way anybody would know something like that. And when that started happening, it just started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so I've been doing the intuitive channeling probably for about 10 years. It's only really in the last 5 years that I took an intuitive class. I decided to take intuitive class just to see what would happen. I'd never really gone through a formal intuitive channeling type of class. And so I took one with this amazing woman in California and started practicing and using my intuitive skills. And I literally came out of there channeling like crazy. My intuitive channeling just even heightened even more doing a class like that. Because I think once you make a choice to do something and then you do it, the universe is like, oh, you're serious about it. Okay, now we're really going to give you this gift. And that's exactly what happened, because I came out of that class and booked my first Body, Mind, Spirit Expo fair. And I remember being terrified on that day to use that in front of that many people. I mean, you're talking about 2,000 people a day sometimes. And I was terrified. I didn't have anybody come to my table. And so then literally Friday night I said, okay, F it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to trust that whatever I'm hearing, I need to say it. And I did do that on Saturday. And I was so busy on Saturday that I had a line of people waiting even after we closed to try to do a session with me, because I had people going and referring other people to me, people bringing family members back, people bringing vendors back. And that was 5 years ago. And it has been like that ever since. And I think even, as I've embraced that gift and I've connected to my guides, I've asked them to deepen it, and they have. They've had given me the ability to really trust the process and trust the gift and use it. I mean, not even questioning the gift, not even questioning where it comes from, not even questioning its authenticity and whether someone is connecting to that authentic information. It's not my problem to dissect that. It's my problem to share it. And it's once I put that story on, once I pass that story on, it's up to the person to really take that and decide what that means to them, right? And let them be able to sit with that and let that develop. So, that intuitive side have just really come through the last 5 years where, I hear everything. I hear stories people write. I remember at one of the shows, one of the vendors had sent me her husband. The guy sat on my table and you could tell he was not into the session. It was like, I sincerely doubt I'm going to relate to anything this woman is doing. I mean, he was a famous book author, did energy healing all over the world. And I just happened to say, yeah, okay, so I hear you going, I don't remember where it was, Brazil. I'm just going to say Brazil. Yeah, I remember it was Brazil, and you're going to be writing a children's book about this, and this. And I remember he got off the table and he said, there is no way someone would know I'm traveling to Brazil in a month. And I'm going there specifically to visit some children's villages because I'm writing a children's book about it. Wow. And it's just the most random things that will come through when I'm channeling. Sometimes I'm hearing physical issues, right? Sometimes I'm hearing someone needs to go check this type of hormone, or they need to go and do a detox because their kidneys or livers are a little shot, right? They'll tell me that. I'll actually hear that. Sometimes I'm hearing the work that they're going to be doing. I remember someone came to see me who was looking for work, never did anything at all, and had been a stay-at-home mom. She was ready to go back to work. She came to see me. And then 4 sessions of her seeing me, because of all the intuitive messages coming through in the industries I was hearing that she should look into, by the 4th session with her, she had a job. She had a full-time job with great benefits. And so, like I said, I don't trust where it comes from. It just comes through. And it's fun for me because I'm like, okay. And sometimes they're really abrasive. Sometimes I'm like, are you sure you want me to say that? And they're like, yes. And sometimes it can come through really quacky. And I'm like, I apologize in advance, but they want me to say just like this to you. And usually I get someone laughing and I'm like, that is complete. I understand exactly what that means. Just the way that comes through. And I mean, another example, I was working with a friend of mine years ago, and her grandfather had passed. And when he had passed, he always gave her a nickname. And I remember I told the nickname, and it was like Sassy Pants. And he's like, you are just the Sassy Pants. You were always the Sassy Pants. And I remember her saying that, and she just started crying. She's like, that's what he used to call me, was Sassy Pants. And so
wow.
I never know what comes through because it's so individualized and so custom, right? It is so different for every person, but I always make sure to give it through because it's always helpful information.
Wow.
So someone who has never experienced this work or never really heard of channeling before, they know that they're wanting healing and help, but they've never been exposed, and they're kind of, afraid, right? Like it's a can of worms. Healing is a can of worms, so it does take a little bit of courage. What would you say to somebody? What would you say to that person that is brand new to this work, but does have past traumas? They know they need change, and they're a little skeptical of kind of like the channeling and the psychic information and we always hear like the woo woo. What would you say to that person?
Well, if someone came to me, I'd say, what would it be like for you if in 1 year you could be where you're loving your job, you're loving what you're doing, the money is flowing in, you're getting to travel and do all the things that you want, you are surrounded by so many fun people and supportive people that you feel so supported, and you can't say anything negative about your life. You can't say, I don't like my job, I'm not happy with my partner, I'm struggling with losing weight, I'm struggling with this issue, I wish I could have more of this, I wish I could do this, I wish I could say that. What if in a year you could actually speak like you're on top of the world and every aspect of your life is fulfilling? I think we all look for that. I mean, including myself, right? There are many aspects of my life that are not necessarily fulfilled. And that's where I do my own inner work to make sure that I'm always striving in that direction, because I want to be able to say I am and I can say that now. I am doing what I love, right? It only took me 30 years to do that in another career, but I was able to get to the point where I can say I am so fulfilled. I love what I do. I am surrounded by fantastic women and some fantastic people. And so my say to them is, where do you want to be in a year? What if you could say, I want to be happy and I want to be fulfilled and I want to love what I do and I don't want to feel alone. I want to feel surrounded and supported and I want to be free. I want to have freedom in all of aspects of my life. And, you know, people have a misconception about therapy. People have a misconception about even energy healing, not even just therapy. It's just energy healing in general. Yeah. It can be a burden. It can feel like a burden, but it really isn't a burden. It is pure freedom. You know, I tell people, once you start this work, you never want to turn back. You never want to stop, because when you do your own therapy, and it doesn't matter what it is, it could be coming to see me. It could be journaling. It could be a meditation practice you do every day. It could be going to have like consistently doing your yoga practice every week and being surrounded by other like-minded individuals. It could be doing positivity masterminds or meetups, healthy meetups. It doesn't matter what you do, but you're doing something. When you start to go down this process and you start to see the amazing things in your life shift in a way you never thought possible, just start showing up. And then all of a sudden you are so happy. You feel so happy. You feel so tenacious to try anything. You become fearless to look for a new job, fearless to want to meet people, fearless to travel by yourself and take a trip by yourself and do something amazing. You know, all of those things happen when you just start peeling the layers of what doesn't work anymore. You know, if you can honestly say right now in your life, you are happy and content and fulfilled, and you've got everything in your life you want, and everything is perfect, then you've achieved your milestone. But if you're not, if you can honestly say you are not happy in some aspect, or if family triggers you, or if something in your life triggers you, work triggers you, or you don't feel fulfilled, then this is the question you need to ask yourself. What's missing? What is missing? What is something I'm possibly holding on to that I don't realize that's creating a block for me to do better, be better, have more, and get to that fulfilled state?
Well, and I think, you know, experiencing your work for myself, which, are you okay if I give my testimony of your work real quick? And then I want to I have a point to this. So yeah, you and I kind of connected through another amazing woman that we've all met, named Deb Starkey. She was like, hey, you got to meet this girl, Alex, and me and you met. And then I came over to your house for a session and I thought, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to get this sound healing thing. And I got off the table going, holy shit, what was that? What just happened? And I've been a body worker and in the healing, you know, world and realm, and experienced so many different modalities. And I got off your table and I was like, whoa, that you call yourself the heavy hitter. That was so true. I was not expecting what came out of that session. And it was you unearthed things that I didn't even know, like that I thought had been resolved in my life. That was it was so powerful. And, you know, going back to that new person that might be, you know, coming into your practice, one of the things that I experienced during that, though, is the follow-up support. It wasn't just that session. You know, I remember you had this whole list for me, and you wrote out and sent me all my notes from the session, and you had this process that I was supposed to do literally 30 days later or something like that on the full moon, this whole thing. And so can you, that was meaningful for me. So, yeah. So can you just share or talk about how you support people, not just in that session, but you really support them through the whole process? And I think that that's important for people to hear about what you do, because not everybody does that.
Yeah. So, you know, I think what I And I think I got that from that lady that I worked with in the United Kingdom in the UK, because when I worked with her, she checked up on me for a long time. And then when I found the healer I found another healer that I work with after her. And that second healer ended up being with me for 25 years. I mean, I literally saw her for 25 years. As I was seeing clients, I was seeing her, because I said that, especially as a healer, it's really important that a healer work on their healing and not start seeing clients until they have really worked through their stuff. So I really officially did not start doing my business until, I think, like I said, officially I started in 2011 by opening up the business. And it was around 2011 that's when I really starting to integrate all of my stuff, right? Everything, my own experiences, my own healings, the gifts. And then as I was getting into 2019, that's when really like the biggest layers of my own stuff started to disappear. And that's when I really came into this space, and having that healer, right? Having that healer that had been with me for 25 years taught me that when you have a client, they're yours, right? You are part of their journey. It's not I didn't believe in one and a done, right? I'm not your one and done journey. I want to be your journey for the rest of your life. Because I want to know you. I want to know your journey. I want to know your story. I want to know everything that's in that place because I am your spark, right? I'm here to help you become your spark and to help work through all of those things that making you the best version of yourself and the best and receiving the highest and best possible. And I know it's possible because I was able to get from such a dark place to such a positive place. And so I promised myself that I will always do this work in the same capacity was given to me. And that capacity was having an ownership with my clients, knowing them on a personal level, knowing everything in their lives, knowing the things that motivate them, inspire them, and light them up, and knowing the things that bring them down and knock them down a peg. And I know how to get them back up. And I know how to do these little exercises, right? It's homework. I had to do my homework. And no movement can happen unless someone truly makes the call to do the work. You have to do the work after a session, because otherwise it's never going to be as deep as you want it to be unless you take that ownership. You make that commitment to say, I'm going to get to the other side. I'm going to have this amazing life. It is possible. And so in all of my work, my clients always get a type of homework, type of work that they get that tells them, okay, I want you to write a forgiveness letter. I want you to write a letter to your hosts. So that way we can begin to remove those connections to those hosts from you. I want you to start identifying, one of my most powerful techniques is helping people identify what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. Nobody ever sits down and says, what is not acceptable to me? What is my zero tolerance? What are the things I have zero tolerance for? And I always joke with my husband, my zero tolerance is his pissiness. He gets pissy. I'm like, nope. I'm like, why are you being pissy? I'm not okay with being pissy, right? And I can shoot that down fast, but that's my zero tolerance. And like his zero tolerance is me talking on my phone in the car. He absolutely hates it when I talk on the phone in my car with him, or if I'm at dinner with him and on my phone. It is literally his zero tolerance. So you have to identify that, right? In order to understand, okay, this is my balance with my partner. This is my balance with this person. This is what I have to respect in order for the relationship to thrive. And so you have to identify what are those unacceptable, non-acceptable things in your life. And nobody really ever does that until someone tells you to do it, right? Nobody actually ever takes the time and because once you do, then you start to understand what your boundaries are, right? You don't live in this gray matter anymore with boundaries. When someone says something inappropriate, you don't just sit there and not say anything. You actually will respond. That's not okay with me. Please don't say something like that. Or you know what? I don't want to hear that. That's negative. Your ability to start recentering those boundaries are important. And so that's why I try to give these types of homework, these little activities that people can do to keep it going. And then clients check in with me. They have my cell phone. They check in with me. Hey, this happened today. Hey, you know what? Here's my weekly check-in. This is what's going on. So if they have a curveball, I can help bring them back into the space and keep it going. So that by the time they do come back and see me, there's progression, right? My goal with all of my clients is there's progression. There's always, every session, there's always peeling one layer or another layer. Some sessions are going to be very deep and I pull lots of things out. And then other sessions are not going to be so deep. They're going to be a little layer here, little layer two, but they're going to be so noticeable in your current present environment, in just the way you're thinking, the type of people that come into your space, the type of opportunities that pop up. So many things that just all of a sudden come in that you don't necessarily realize. And all I'm doing is providing the space to help you be able to do that. I'm just uncovering your light and keeping you accountable to be able to do it. Because I think we all need, especially me, I need an accountability to continue to grow this business, to be able to do this full time, right? I am replacing this calling, this gift that I have. This is my lifeblood now, right? And so I need my accountability partners to be there in my space to help me keep going, to help me stay lit. So that way, as they keep me lit, I can keep my clients lit. And so I have that very personal, loving relationship with all my clients, because that's it. I have them for life, and they come see me for 6 months at a time, and we work through really deep stuff, and then they're gone, and then things are going and things are great, and then something else happens in their life at some point, and another layer comes out. You know, if anything, I can tell people, if you start down this path, and when you start down this path, please understand that as you open this space will be open to the day you die, because there will always be things that come up that you need to work through. Sometimes it's going to feel like it's pouring, it's raining, and it's all coming at the same time. That's when it's most important to do the heaviest of the work, to really move through all of those things that are happening, so we can finally close those things and you can get through the story faster and you can be done with it. And then you're going to get into a great place for a while where everything is amazing. The work is amazing. Pay is amazing. You know, friends are amazing. Traveling, you're doing all these amazing things. And then you hit your rut in another period of time. And that's what it is. That's what inner work is.
Yeah. And what's so interesting about the work that you do is that as I go through school to become a clinical counselor, which I will not end up becoming a clinical counselor, because I know that coaching, I can get a deeper relationship with people, because I can actually become a part of their life. And that's really what I want, is that I love to go deep with people. That's who I've always been. And when relationships are really surface level and you don't really get, that's why talk therapy doesn't work for me, is because I get these like surface level people who are just like, well, how does that make you feel? And I'm like, bro, like I need somebody to be like, okay, well,
go deep.
Yeah. Like go deep with me, like dig deep and be like, okay, well, the trauma, let's talk about the trauma. And I'm like, well, the trauma was so much. And like, I need that sort of interaction with people, because it's important. Like you said, like healers need healers. And I know that that's going to be a part of the graduate degree that I get. But at the same time, I'm like, I have to use my discernment as to what it is I actually believe, and then what it is they're telling me and selling me. And I'm capable enough to do that. But there are so many people out there that don't get that opportunity to be like, okay, well, this doesn't feel right. And they tell you can't hug people. Like, it's very like, and I'm such a hugger. I'm like, this is not what I want. Like, I want to be a part of that world. And hearing all like the way that you deal with your clients is so beautiful. And so I commend you for that. It's really incredible. And you work so freaking hard. And more people need to be like you. Seriously.
Thank you. Well, you know, it's hard work. And I commend the people that see me, because it's hard work and it's so hard to be vulnerable. And it's so hard to talk about the memories that cause so much pain and so much darkness, and to go back through them just to finally release them, right? Or to tell your host what you wanted to say back then that you've never been able to. You know, it's hard, it's heavy work. I'm not going to lie, it's heavy work. And when you come to do energy work, you're exhausted afterwards. I always tell people, you plan to be tired. You're going to be tired for a couple of days, because we're going in and putting our heads in those stories, and it's going to be heavy, dark and heavy for those couple of days. But then people feel amazing afterwards, because that stuff comes out of your body and you start to detox your body. I mean, the amount of physical changes I see with people is insane. Like, I know we were talking about the lady with the oxygen, and I tell this story to people all the time, because this is what energy healing does, right? This is what any sort of energy healing does. But, you know, this lady had come to me. She was in a toxic situation with a partner, with a spouse, they were in the middle of separation. It was extremely heavy. He was very abusive. She was unable to speak, could not speak without coughing, like could not have a conversation without these fits that would come through. And she was on medication. She was carrying an oxygen reader that if she fell below a certain amount, she had to go to the hospital. And wow. So all of these physical problems came in with me. And I think she was with me for almost a year. And when she left, it was probably about 7 months in. I remember she coming into the house, one of the last sessions. And my husband was like, "Who is that?" Asked me at the time, "Who is that?" And I told him, and he's like, There's no way that's the same woman. He's like, she looked completely different. I mean, every physical aspect of her face, even her face was thinner. Her hair was beautiful. She was wearing color. She was wearing color in her outfits, like subtle changes. The coughing was gone. She could talk normally without any coughing. Her wow. Oxygen levels went, I think, from the 80s to the 90s, which is where they were supposed to be. She no longer had to really carry the oxygen reader and the little oxygen tank she was giving herself. So it's amazing when you go to those depths of the layers, to the ugly, when you go to the ugly, just how much the body can physically change, yeah. Truly can change, because you're releasing so much heavy stuff. I mean, people even who've come to see me for seizures have told me their seizures have happened less because I relax them so much and their body is so calm that the more calm they stay and the less seizures decide to pop up, because every time the seizures, at least for the clients that have come see me, their seizures always happen in stressful situations. They're either overworking themselves, they're doing too much, and then they have a seizure. And so even like doing sound therapy on people that with those type of conditions have noticed just how much the physical body can adapt to healing itself, to calming the body, calming the nervous system, parasympathetic system, on how much it just drastically reduces physical issues that pop up. You know, I don't know, right? I don't question, like, and I don't want to speak like, I always tell people, I try not to speak like a doctor and say, oh, you're going to have this and this. It's not about that. It's about connecting the dots. It's about doing the therapy, noticing, man, this is getting better. Wow, you know, this pain is starting to disappear because we're focusing on, okay, the body itself. When you have a physical issue, it's not only talking about the physical issue, but then going to the emotional underlying issue beneath it, and then going to the story beneath that, beneath the emotional, right? What happened beneath that? Because a lot of times when we go through trauma and we have physical trauma that we keep in our body, becomes like a disease. It starts to like cause havoc and digestive issues and so many other physical stress, obesity and weight, and so many other things on our body, that it's like the physical representation is just an underlying of something else that's going on, right? Yeah. And we're going to the source. The point of energy therapy is to go to the source, to pull out the source, so that way that piece starts to go away.
Wow.
And for somebody who's never experienced sound healing therapy, describe what it is that you do and how you use some of the equipment, the Tibetan bowls and the crystals and some of the other things. Maybe give an example of what that's like for somebody who's never experienced that before.
So the sound therapy I picked up in the last 5 years, I met this amazing teacher in Boulder, Atma Bhuti, and it's a school for sound healing. And I don't even remember how I found him. He is magic. The man is magic. Every aspect of him is magic. But I met him 5 years ago and fell in love with what he was doing, and fell in love with sound. And I found sound because I think I just happened to take a sound bowl class when he was offering it one time. And the powerful effects of the vibration from the Tibetan bowls and actually physically entering the body without them even touching me was so profound. And that was just doing the bowls around my body. That's what he was doing. And it was so incredible. I decided to take classes and start taking my certification to be a sound bath therapist. And over these last couple years, I have migrated to sound therapy. And what sound therapy is, it is these Tibetan bowls. These Tibetan bowls are made very distinctly a certain way. They're made with 7 different metals. So when they vibrate, the vibration of those bowls enter the body. It's like, it's as they say, is as fast as speed of light. And the vibrations enter your body and physically calm your nervous and parasympathetic system. So it is forcing the body to quickly dysregulate and calm down. And the bowls themselves, so a sound therapy, if you come and see me for a sound therapy, you're basically on a table. You have all of the bowls around you. You have bowls on top of your body. We also pour hot water into the bowls because the hot water, especially with the vibration of the bowls, that vibration itself with the heat goes past the fascia into the muscle and the joint. So it actually releases joint and muscular and fascia issues extremely quick. Generally, they say about 15 minutes on the body in total is all you need. And I usually will do like a minute to 2 minutes over certain sections of the body that are showing physical ailments. So that way is over a period of 3 to 4 sessions, that heated vibration. And what it does is forcing the blood to go to the area of inflammation. And so the blood platelets start to heal the body and starts to heal the pain. So most of the clients that come see me for sound therapy usually have had, joint issues. They've had surgeries. My teacher has done healings over breast cancer patients because the vibration of the therapy over the scar tissue has found to make the actual scar tissue disappear over time because it's working on that muscular fascia. So there's so many thousands of stories. There's I can never say the ear ringing. Those that struggle with ear ringing, tinnitus,
yeah.
Putting a bowl over there actually over time will completely heal that. And that will go away. I mean, he's got so many medical stories of him traveling over the world for the last 20 years or so doing therapies, sound therapies, which is why I got into this work, because not only does the sound vibration from these Tibetan bowls help me go so much deeper with the energy work. I mean, really deep. Like I am going to the source and pulling this stuff up. But for those clients that just come to see me for physical issues, like back issues, I remember in your class in Estes when we were doing
I was just going to say, we witnessed it. Like we witnessed it, like a live demonstration literally happened. Yeah. I'll let you tell the story, but
yeah,
I
have
right in front of us.
Yeah, I got the mother bowl, and the mother bowl is probably she's probably 37 inches. She's pretty big. And you stand in it to get grounded. It's a very powerful grounding technique, but it's also used for low back pains and physical ailments that are really deep and really hard to pull out. And so this one woman in the class had been complaining about back pains and how she has to use relaxers in the morning to ease the back pain from the bed. So we just happened to I put it on her back. I did some therapy on her back, and she literally said, I didn't even have to take muscle relaxers. In the next morning, she wake up. She's like, I didn't have to even take muscle relaxers anymore. She goes, holy cow, that bowl made such a difference. And so it's just a great example of when you put, those bowls on like a joint issue. I mean, I had a client that he used to type a lot on computers. So he worked from home. He constantly typed. He had the worst knots in his shoulders to the point that would cut his breathing off. And we did therapies with the heated bowls on his shoulders. And in 3 sessions, all of those knots were gone. He's like, my breathing is back to normal. My doctor was asking me what I was doing. And he's like, I just got bowl therapy. And his doctor's like, well, we'll keep doing it because whatever you're doing is working. And so that was just a fun example, easy example, right? Because we're all guilty of sitting at our computers and typing, and you don't realize just the havoc you do on your shoulders and on your muscular system, what you can do. So, I mean, there's so many cool examples of, people have come to see me for surgeries. I've done it on their knees. The pain has disappeared.
It's crazy.
I worked on a woman I actually had a great client who came to see me because she was a celiac patient, and she never felt her stomach because she had celiac disease. She couldn't eat a lot of things. And so she just stopped feeling anything in her stomach. And after a session working on it, I did heated bowls on her. So I had bowls on her stomach. I was rubbing the bowls on her stomach probably for a good 2 minutes. And at the end of the session, her stomach started rumbling. Like we actually hear the gurgling in her stomach. And she's like, holy cow, I have not heard my stomach rumble in 25 years. Whoa. She goes, that's the first time I've ever heard something in my stomach. And so we did a couple sessions of that. And then her digestive system started to come together. I've been working on a 13-year-old boy who has super like his nervous system and his adrenaline system is always going. I mean, he's, unfortunately, this is kind of the physical reality with a lot of kids nowadays. They're so hyperactive. He was so hyperactive. His digestive system was a mess. And just one session of the bowls of the hot water treatments on his stomach, that digestive issues was gone. And so it's amazing how much vibration just in a particular area, it forces the body to heal itself because of that deep vibration is going so deep. It's breaking up all of the energies, all the stuck stuff in there, fascia, the joint issues. Joint work with sound therapy is so big is because the sound vibration forces the liquid between the joints. Because of that vibration, the liquid starts to ease and starts to come up between the joint. So that way, those joint pains that you have, sound therapy can help with it because finally it starts to bring the liquid a little out that gets stuck between the joints. So that's why sound therapy is so healthy. But I think any healing is healthy, right? Like it's like getting a massage every month. These are the things that you need to incorporate in the rest of your life. Massage, energy healing, Reiki, having a therapist of some sort, whether it's a talk therapist, because if that works for you, do it because it's work. It gets things moving. It gets things flowing. The moment you stop flowing, that's when it rains, it pours, right? That's when everything stops. That's when you're like, nothing is happening. I'm not getting clients and not getting this. And I'm guilty of that. I'm totally guilty of that. When I'm really in my flow and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing every day, I'm getting appointments and things are flowing great and happy. And the moment I stop, nothing happens. Everything gets quiet. And then you have to do the inner work to be like, okay, why is everything getting quiet? Why am I getting unhappy again? I'm becoming disconnected again. Why am I becoming disconnected? So it's just it is a constant process. It's always a constant work and it shouldn't be a burden. This work is not a burden. It should be something you enjoy that makes you feel so much better the next day that you're like, I want more. I need more of that. I need to feel connected more.
Yeah. I actually ran into one of my professors on Sunday and she invited me to a gong bath randomly. And I had never experienced gongs like that. And it was an hour of just me like, oh my gosh, like I felt so incredible afterwards and they gave us chocolate and I was like, this is amazing. And I always think like after every sound bath I've ever experienced, I want more of that. The first time I ever experienced a sound bath, it was when I moved back to Colorado and I went to a friend's little get together and that's where I really fell in love with sound therapies because I laid down and someone was doing Reiki on me and I was getting all of these like visions and these like this really awesome like when sound moves through me I get connected and whenever I am able to close my eyes and really tap into sound therapy it's like it's a whole new world of things for me. And I'm still trying to figure that out, right? Like this is all so new to me, but it's been the most life-changing thing for me is sound healing. And that's why I do it. And that's why I see that other people really find that love for something like Celeste and her massage therapy and how she, she feels like she really connects to people, right? Like you can attest to that. How amazing that is for you. And I don't know, it's an incredible thing once you find that one thing that you're like, oh my gosh, this totally works for me. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities and you really start to connect with new people. That's how I've been able to, become a part of both of your lives. Yeah. And more people need to see that once you start to open yourself up to things, it's rapid change. It's such rapid change. It's beautiful.
Well, and I feel like all of these healing modalities, like Alex, like what you were saying is it's not one size fits all. One thing will work for one person, and it's often a combination. But I think one of the things that's in common about all of these, and I heard you say it a couple times too when you were talking, and Kelly, you as well, is that we begin to teach people that the healing and the resources that they need for healing is within them. It's all within them. And our role as healers or guides is just to facilitate the access to their own healing and transformative power that they have. And And I think that that's, you know, like the biggest excitement for me about this movement is that we like, I feel like this is a movement, you know, for like people taking their health and their well-being and their mental health and their physical health within their own control and not being reliant on something outside of them. And that's what I experience in both of your guys' work, is that it's teaching me to access what's within me to work on that healing. And same with my clients too, is, you know, every aspect of our physical body is meant to be in homeostasis. All of our systems and processes are working to bring itself to balance. And when there's dysfunction, you know, every mechanics in our body is working to bring it back into balance. And I think that's truly what your work has been about. And what I heard you talk about, you know, pretty much almost for this last hour is helping people to access that light. And sometimes that is unearthing and uncovering and releasing all of the traumas and the stuck energy and the patterns and the beliefs and the, you know, injuries, you know, the lack of range of motion, like it's all connected. And so that they can access that inner light themselves. And that's then what truly allows for the abundance and like the joy to come in, you know, like we make room for that and for our light to just be expressed. And so
and it comes in so fast too. Like it does, it does. Like things can come in a day. You're like, boom. You're like, how did that happen? You know, so it totally can.
Yeah. We're like awakening people to their natural state of being. Yeah. That they forgot that like, they're like, oh, this is how I really am. You know, that's pretty cool, right?
It's nice because, you know, we get to provide that set and setting for them to just relax and finally become who they are.
Yeah.
And because there's so many constraints with reality, and if you're able to kind of just draw yourself away from it, and that really brings you to meditation, right? Like meditation is such a key aspect of it. Like we all have a pineal gland. We all know that it's been worshipped for thousands of years because it is our gateway to the other side of the veil, to understanding ourselves at such a deep level. But being able to have facilitators who sit and really just like say, hey, you're going to heal, and really truly believing that because somebody else is saying it, but just because like they're just that facilitator. They're just like, hey, it's going to be okay. Like having someone just say it's going to be okay. Yeah. I did a breathwork seminar with this woman, and she just kept saying, I got you. And I literally was just bawling my eyes out because like, oh my God, nobody has ever said that to me. And being able to facilitate that space is just so beautiful and such a powerful tool that we have to show people like, hey, this is what we bring to you. We bring this loving, like mother energy or like feminine beauty, and we can help you balance that feminine and masculine so that way you can become the woman or man or whoever you want to be. And that's
holding the space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I think everybody needed their space held at one point, right? I think that's where a lot of us did not have that space held, and we had to figure out that on our own. And that's part of the human existence, is finding that place to recenter and be in a place where you have that again, right? Where someone has your back. You have a tribe that has your back. And that's what we're showing, that, right? That's the whole point. Even the podcast, that's what we're doing, is we're making a safe space for people to shine their light and know that they can, because there's not a one single person out there that doesn't deserve to not have that and not have that space.
I think that's a big reason.
Hell yeah.
We call this the Harmony and Wisdom podcast. Like we've been able to tap into something that other people don't understand yet, but we want to show them that it exists. It does. And it's all within you. It's all within you.
Yeah.
It is.
And I think when, we feel like we're in a space where we can be vulnerable and it's safe, and then that is held. Like, I think the magnitude of that is something that just ripples out and starts creating massive change. Because Alex, like you said, you're right. It's something that we've been starved for. And when that happens, when we receive that, it is, that feeling is a feeling that is hard to create any sort of comparison to. I mean, I would really say, like, when we experience something miraculous, whether that be having a child or being with a very, very special loved one, and we're just like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. I would say those times when, like, I've experienced it, those times when I've been able to be like so just vulnerable and not afraid of that, because I know that I'm safe and cared for. It's like, yeah, it's up there with the, like, I think it resonates with unconditional love. Like, that's my opinion of that space. And yeah, we for sure, we need more of that. We need more of that. So.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So thank you, Alex, because that is what you provide in a massive way. Not just in your treatment room, outside of your treatment room, as your friend. Like, that is just, you just exude that for people,
No lie.
So I've always been so grateful and appreciative of that.
Thank you. Thank you. I always said that if it wasn't for the one person, my sister, to get me out of that space and doing this work, right, tried to convince me that there's something better than being in this dark place that I was in, right? I was in a dark place. I didn't even care about myself, my physicality, nothing. I mean, I just was in such a dark place. So if I hadn't had that one person to say, you can do this, there is something different, there is something better, don't waste your time, right? Don't wait these years going down this rabbit hole. If I hadn't had that person to show me what that light looked like, and to push me and to push my accountability to get it, to do the work that I need to do, I wouldn't be doing the work I was doing, right? I would not be doing this work. And now that I am, I'm going to be that light for people that I never had someone having, right? If it wasn't for my sister to push me into that, but I didn't have that person growing up being that light for me, never letting me give up, right? And I want to be able to do that for others, because I know there's something different. You can get to the other side. There is light at the other side, and it's amazing. And it's not going to be perfect, and it will never be perfect, but it'll be darn amazing. And it's possible. And so that's what we're doing, right? We're just showing people it's possible.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for sharing your wisdom with everyone. And
thank you.
I'm excited to chop this up and make some amazing clips and just really showcase people what you have to give. And thank you.
For you guys. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. I just love hearing the whole story from start to finish, and hearing, your personal triumph through, darkness to the reason you do what you do. And I love what you just said. It just takes one person. It just takes one person in somebody else's life to literally change their trajectory. Like, how incredible is that? Like, that just like lights me up a ton. So thank you for being that one person to many people.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes one person to care, right? And that one person is going to just change your life. And once they change yours, you'll change someone else. You'll pass it on. Just keep passing it on. This world needs more love. And so more love and more support, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many bad things are happening. We can get through the bad stuff. The bad stuff are just stories. We can get through it quickly. Just choose love and support and have someone help you go through it. And then once you're through it, you get to do something else, right? And bring love back. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
awesome. Thank you. Well, thanks for the fun conversation.
Yeah, this was
it was great. It was great. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. You can just keep reading.
Did you want to your name? Got it.
Don't even say and. Go ahead.
Welcome. Oh,
Go ahead.
Got it.
Action.
It's me.
Yeah. Yeah, you read it.
Hey, welcome to Harmony and Wisdom, where we explore spirituality, self-awareness, and mindfulness. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. You can redo it.
Starting over. Okay. Welcome. We uncover the wisdom behind innovative entrepreneurs who integrate these elements to elevate their venture and attract aligned customers. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or curious about harmonizing your business with spirituality, Harmony and Wisdom is here to inspire and inform your journey. Get ready to unlock new perspectives and discover new transformative power of consciousness and business. Welcome aboard. I probably need to do that again.
Just do it one more time. It's okay. All right. Go ahead. You can just keep reading.
Did you want to your name? Got it.
Don't even